Welcome to another week of the show. We've got a great one planned for you here today. I'm going to have the Vice President of Operations of the Wheeling Nailers, Craig Baumer, with me today because, yes, hockey season is upon us. Both the Wheeling Nailers and the Penguins getting underway. We'll talk about both the Wheeling Nailers with Craig, and then also I'll be giving some thoughts on the Penguins season starting off. But first, we'll start with our usual features, and that's always our Community Champion of the Week. This week, I want to honor someone who I know very well, and that's Kathy Blass. She is the founder of Driving for a Cure Golf Scramble. She started Ohio Valley Breast Cancer Awareness a number of years back, about 11 years back. She is the wife of my law partner, Scott Blass, and they're having their annual scramble this week that raises money for so many people who are going through breast cancer treatment. And this covers a lot of things that normally insurance does not cover. Things such as cover-ups for when they're receiving chemotherapy, special other robes and other things that they need that the insurance doesn't cover when they're receiving treatment. And for so many women here in the area, they've benefited from the funds that are raised from the Driving for a Cure Golf Classic. This week, I'm sure we'll raise another good bit of money that'll benefit a number of people around. And Kathy puts a lot of time into this year-round, meets with her committee on Tuesday nights or Wednesday nights, a lot of times at my office, so I see the group of people that she has in there assisting her, and they're a very dedicated bunch, but they're led by her, so she is our Community Champion of the Week here on the Jamie Bordas Show. Next up, the quote of the week. And this is very timely, this quote, and that's why I chose it. It comes from Franklin Roosevelt, one of our former presidents, and the quote is, "Nobody will ever deprive the American people of the right to vote except the American people themselves. And the only way they could do this is by not voting." That comes from Franklin Roosevelt. And of course, you know, the election season is upon us. So many people are saying, I'm tired of hearing these political rants back and forth. I don't like either one of these presidential candidates, and I hear a lot of people saying, I'm just not going to vote. Well, a couple of things to remember. First of all, there are other races out there besides the presidential race. There are races for governor, for attorney general, legislative races, local races for things like county commission. All of these races are very important and affect our lives every single day. Don't let what's going on at the top necessarily affect your decision as to whether or not you're going to vote. But additionally, vote at the top. You may not be thrilled with either candidate, but don't not vote and then complain over the next 4 years about what happened. People have fought and died for that right to vote that we have here in our country. Many countries don't enjoy the right to vote. Look at that flag and know that people have fought for it, and one of the reasons they fought for it is so we would have the right to vote, because we live in a democracy. Take advantage of the opportunity to vote. Judge the candidates and make a decision as to who most aligns with you. You don't have to like every single thing about the candidates. Oftentimes you don't. There are people we know that are good friends of ours, family members, that we don't like everything about them, but we still love them. You don't have to love these political candidates, but you should choose and judge which person's ideals, which person's leadership skills, which person's manner in which they're going to lead us most aligns with what your thoughts are, and then exercise that right to vote. Because as Franklin Roosevelt said, you know, the right to vote can only be taken away by the people themselves, and we should never do that to ourselves. So get out there and vote. Early voting starts before too long, and then of course the general election will be held the first week in November, so take advantage of that. Next, our legal tip, and that is contact a lawyer sooner rather than later. And the reason that I chose this particular legal tip for this week is that we've had a number of calls to my law firm recently where people called and they said, hey, it's just too late. People think they always have 2 years from when something happens in order to file a lawsuit, and that's not always the case. There are some things that you only have 1 year for, such as in West Virginia, an insurance claim being denied. You only have a year usually from when that's done in order to bring a case. People think they have 2 years. Not necessarily the case. So if you have a homeowner's claim and the company issues a denial, don't take your time and think, well, I've got plenty of time to do this. The other thing is things fade from your memory. You may think, well, I'll remember all this, and they don't. And facts can disappear, evidence can disappear. It's important to get to a lawyer right away before those things happen. Another is an Ohio wrongful death, say from a medical malpractice. You only have 1 year to bring that cause of action. So if a loved one passes away and you think there's malpractice and you think, well, I've got 2 years to decide, no, you don't. You've got a year. And so if you don't act upon that, you could have some problems and be barred from bringing a lawsuit. So it's important to speak to a lawyer right away so you can find out how much time you have, what your rights are, whether or not you need to do it by a certain time frame, and also, as I said, to preserve the evidence and to make sure that things are still fresh in your mind. And as you're going along, take some notes, keep a journal if you have to, so that if you do forget things later on, there'll be a record of them. And believe me, you will forget. It's amazing how many times I see people come into our office and they said, when this was going on, I thought I'll never forget this, but then they do forget an important date or an important medication that was administered to a loved one, or something else that occurred, an insurance company representative making a certain statement to them. And they thought they would remember this, but they don't. So make sure you keep a good log or journal if you think that something might give rise to a legal action down the road. It certainly helps to have a good record of it. We're going to need to take a break. When we come back, I'll be speaking with Craig Baumer, the Vice President of Operations of the Wheeling Nailers, who will be kicking off their season this week. Stay with us here on the Jamie Bordas Show.
So, how was your first day?
Long. So, Josh asked me about you.
Daddy's home. Go get him.
For your home, for your life, for more than 50 years. The Hardwood Specialists. DeNoon Lumber.
Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration has been restoring homes after disasters for nearly 4 decades. Through that experience, we present Panhandle Custom Homes, Kitchens, and Baths. We handle your entire project, from concept to completion, working with you every step of the way. From the budget-minded upgrade to a fully custom remodel, you can trust the Panhandle name. Panhandle Custom Homes, Kitchens, and Baths. Welcome home.
Welcome back to the show. As I said earlier, hockey season is upon us. Hard to believe, but as the seasons start to change and it gets a little colder outside, it's always time for hockey. And I have with me here today the Vice President of Operations for the Wheeling Nailers, Craig Baumer. Craig, thanks for being here today on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You and I go back a long way. We were high school classmates, and it's great to see you doing so well with the Nailers, and you've been with the team for a while now.
Yeah, thank you. 14 years, going on 14 years this season.
Of course, you're not only doing well, but the team has done well recently. Making a big run to the Kelly Cup Finals last year, and it had to be an exciting time for the organization.
It definitely was. The organization itself was just thrilled with the run, but the community, the excitement in the community was just unbelievable. It was something I'd never seen before.
First time since you've been with the team that they've made that deep of a run in the playoffs. And what does that do for the team, the organization as a whole, not only from an excitement standpoint, but from a financial standpoint, things like that?
It puts a lot of eyeballs on you. Everybody knows what's going on. They're hearing it in the newspaper. They're seeing it on TV. They want to be a part of it. So there was a lot of excitement in the city and the community in the valley, which in turn turns into more ticket sales, more corporate dollars. The more butts in the seats, the more people want to be a part of it.
So it's been a good off season. People are getting excited for, of course, the opener this Saturday.
Yeah, it's been a short off season, but yes, it's been a very good off season. Corporate dollars are heading the right way. They're up. Tickets are up. I think as of this moment, less than 500 tickets remain for Saturday, so everything's going well.
And you mentioned the short off season. That's probably one of the tough things with your job, but a good thing. When you make a deep run like that, there are fewer months in order to get ready for this season, to sell and to do all the things that need to be done with sponsorships and other things to get ready for the new season.
Yeah, absolutely. Typical season ends in April. We went until June, so you're taking a couple months off our selling season, but you're also getting a chance to win a Kelly Cup championship, and that's something we could get used to every year, to be honest with you. So.
Speaking of challenges, one of the big challenges with minor league sports, hockey maybe more than others even, has to be that you don't know who you're going to have from year to year. I mean, your players get called up. There's always trades in every level of sport, but with hockey, they get called up to the next level, so you don't know who you're going to have, maybe sometimes from week to week.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Over the last couple of years, we've averaged about 55 guys on the roster throughout the year. So as we say in the office, if they're good, they're gone. So the better these guys are, there's a better chance that Pittsburgh's going to take a look at them, and the coaching staff's got to keep the team together and keep us moving forward. It's definitely a challenge. We don't have a single way like baseball, so it's all on us to find guys. One
of the things that people may wonder is, with the change in players, don't know who's going to be there necessarily from year to year. Some of the guys maybe that were my favorites are no longer there. Maybe the guy who was my favorite last week isn't there. Why should I come out to a Nailers game, given that change in player? The big thing we try to get out there is you're coming to a hockey game, but you're really coming to entertainment. So we try to bring in celebrities, have some giveaways, things like that, things for the kids to do. So when you get to the arena, even if you don't know the game, you still have a good time when you leave. What are some of the big things that are planned for this year that maybe people want to look forward to? Yeah, well, obviously opening night coming up. It's our 25th opening night. No other team in this league has done that, so we have Fan Fest set up coming for that before the game. And then in December, we have Clint Hurdle, the Pittsburgh Pirates, coming in to sign autographs with the Pirate Parrot and the Cannonball crew. January, we're bringing in Steeler and Brown, Ernest Biner, Merle Hodge. On Boy Scout night, January 14th. And then later in the season, we're bringing back Duck Dynasty night with Godwin and Martin, who are two of the better characters on the show in the shop. So we have some celebrities coming in, and then we're bringing in some other characters, I would say, like Batman, Robin type stuff. So we have a lot of stuff for everybody. You mentioned the team's 25th year opening in Wheeling. You got the 25 shirt on there, I see today, and I even have the old Thunderbirds logo there with it. So that's kind of cool. But I didn't realize that this is the only team in the league that's been around for 25 years. Yeah, a lot of minor league teams don't make it past 5, so to make it 25 is really an accomplishment, not only for us, but the city and the valley. It just shows the support we have around here. There was, I would say, some sense of community pride, a large sense of community pride in the team last year. And, people were disappointed the team, once they made it all the way to the Kelly Cup Finals, didn't finish it off and win it all. But what's the outlook for the team this year like? I mean, obviously that was a great experience for the people here in Wheeling. Can we expect something like this again, or is it too early, too soon to tell? Honestly, it's too soon to tell. The roster will change by January greatly. You'll start out with these guys that Pittsburgh sends down, and some of the guys that Jeff has brought in. By January, the better players are going to get called up. They're going to be shuffled a lot. So really, you want to look at the team in January, February. That's pretty much the team we're going to have in the playoff run. Now, having said that, what we have on the roster right now is going to be a pretty good team. We have some veterans. We have some guys coming over from Europe. And we have 3 or 4 guys coming back from last year's team. So he's got a nice nucleus going, and I think early on we'll be in pretty good shape. The coach returning too, lost the coach mid-season last year. A couple coaches really. Right. But you have the third coach of the season ends up taking the team to the Kelly Cup Finals, and he's returned, so that's got to be a big boost for the organization. Yeah, absolutely. It gives us a little bit of stability. Anytime you have a coach who's trying to recruit, if you don't have stability, players will look elsewhere. So having Jeff come back, knowing what we did last year with 3 coaches is just unheard of, and it's helped him in the recruiting and getting kids to come here, knowing that he's going to be here, and that's who's going to coach them. One of the things that's got to be cool is seeing some of these guys go on to make it in the NHL. Even last year, you're watching the Stanley Cup Finals, and former Nailers player playing in the Stanley Cup Finals. Yes, we take great pride in that when we turn on the NHL Network or NBC Sports any day of the week, and we see a former Nailer there, Mike Condon, or like you said, Tom Kuhnackel, who've been here in Wheeling and spent some time, and we got to know, and really good guys, and you're happy to see them get that shot at the next level and excel as they did. I got to go up to see one of the games last year, and to watch the guy that had been here in Wheeling, make it at that level was fun even for me. And I'm not the biggest hockey guy in the world. I'm more of a football guy, but I do enjoy hockey, and that was just fun to see. Thinking, hey, there's a guy who made it, Right. And that's something that everybody that's playing in sports hopes to do, is to reach the highest level. So that's exciting for everyone involved. And it's something we do in Wheeling better than any other team in the league. We've sent more guys to the NHL. I think the number was 57, 58. Over our 25 years. So when they come to Wheeling, they know there's a legit chance they're going to get to the show if they do what they're supposed to do. And they're going to get a look from Pittsburgh. So it's worked out for us. We need to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking with Craig Baumer, Vice President of the Wheeling Nailers, and we'll talk more hockey with him. Stay with us.
Every day, more than 70,000 puppies and kittens are born in the United States. Just one female can contribute more than 2 million offspring in 8 years. At the Tiffany Spay-Neuter Clinic, we are trying to help. We offer reduced cost services to income qualified families from all over the Ohio Valley. We understand that the cost of owning a pet can be overwhelming, and that stress multiplies when they do. Call the Tiffany Spay-Neuter Clinic or visit us online to find out if we can help you.
People always ask me what it means to be a dealer for the people. For the people is a simple idea. It means we believe that everybody deserves to drive a nicer, newer car. This belief drives the entire team at Robinson Auto Group to care more, to try harder, and to work smarter. Whatever's keeping you from driving that car you want, I guarantee we'll try our best to help you. We're Robinson Auto Group, and we're the dealer for the people.
Welcome back to the show. I've been speaking with Craig Baumer, the Vice President of Operations for the Wheeling Nailers. We're going to continue that discussion, talking about the team, and also want to talk a little bit about the facilities in the arena. But Craig, there's been some upgrades to the facility, significant upgrades here in the last 12 months, and that's something that people maybe have a different look and feel when they come to the games this year. Yeah, we're finally completed with the arena renovations for this phase anyways. The new lobby is now open. I encourage everyone to come check it out. We have a new team shop in there that'll be open Monday through Friday, so fans will be able to come in now and get stuff on non-game days, which I know was an issue in the past for some people. And then the Inter Bowl is done. We got the new seats, we got the new loges, the video board's up and running, the LEDs are up and running. So it's just given us a great atmosphere for hockey, but not just hockey, every event that comes to the arena now. Yeah, it certainly feels a lot more like arenas in larger cities now when you walk into it. I know I went to WWE recently down at the arena, and I was really impressed with the different feel when you walk in. Just even not having to walk up all the steps outside and then wait outside in line to get in. I mean, you could. There's a nice appearance and feel to it with all the glass when you first come in, and just to give it a totally different feel. Yeah, the whole design was made for fan comfort, and we wanted to get you into the building quicker, not stand out in the elements. And you're right, those steps were a pain in the butt to get up all the time. So no, those are gone. You can walk in at street level, especially people with challenges. It's a lot easier now, and I think overall it's just a much better facility. Of course, the new seats also, big change there. Not the old bright hard orange seats that we've been accustomed to, that we grew up with over the years. Now much nicer, newer look. Yeah, every seat is padded. Depending on what level you buy, there's more pads, but every seat is padded. And you're right, it's not the bright orange, it's a nice black, gray tone, so it's got a nice look to it inside the building. Yeah, it definitely looked 60s, 70-ish for quite some time in there, and it is, the comfort level is a big difference too. I think especially for people that may be older or don't want to sit on that hard seat all night or have a bad back or legs or whatever it may be, it's certainly a different level of comfort now. Yes, the entertainment has changed over the years, and people want different things now. We have to adapt. Well, that even goes hand in hand with the video board. I mean, now there are features there, and as you said earlier, you want this to be an experience, an entertainment experience for people, not just a hockey game. And I think the video board adds to that as well. Oh, absolutely. Anytime you can put a kid on the board, or a couple kissing or whatever, everybody has fun with that. And so it's definitely changed what we do, and I think the fans really enjoy it. So what's still to come? I mean, I know some of the food has changed, things like that, but what can people still expect to see that's maybe different this year in terms of food options, and what's maybe to come down the road? The big thing obviously being the front lobby, but food options, we have Vocelli's Pizza has joined us this year. They will have 2 stands on the east and west sides. Tito's Hot Dogs will be on, I believe it's the east side, and then we brought in the Cheese Melt. Everybody's seen the cheese guy on the corner there in downtown. So Cheese Melt will be in there making cheese sandwiches. River City is back once again, our friends over there who did a great job last year. And then Grandview Park is bringing their Hershey ice cream to the arena. So a little bit for everybody, high-end, low-end foods, and I think everybody will really enjoy it. I had one of the hot dogs when I was at the WWE event, and it was a really good hot dog. I recommend them, and I'm sure the other ones are good too, the other places you mentioned, but that hot dog, I was a good hot dog, and I've had a lot of hot dogs in my time, you can maybe tell. So, there are things that the kids can do at the game, in addition to the regular things, like kids can even skate sometimes with the team, I guess. Yeah, every Sunday night you can skate with the team after the game, but this year we're adding NHL 17 to our concourse, so you'll be able to play the game NHL 17, which features the Wheeling Nailers this year. So you'll be able to be the Wheeling Nailers versus the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Wheeling Nailers if you want. So a couple different things for kids to do this year in the concourse. We're looking at face painters and air hockey and bubble hockey and such, but I think it'll be a good time for the kids. Now when they skate, you mentioned on Sundays, that's something the players stick around and skate with them? Yeah, so every Sunday we choose a group of guys, usually it's odd or evens, and they'll go out and skate for a half hour, 45 minutes with kids, sign autographs, take pictures. I've even seen guys racing kids around the ice, so it's a good time. It's got to be tough to do after you just played a hockey game. Sometimes maybe you're a little tired and you're going out there and skating with kids. But the Nailers do a lot of things in the community. I mean, there's other community involvement besides just there after the games. Yeah, we do at least 100 visits a year, whether it's from going to Waha practices to doing races, 5Ks, you name it. We're involved with just about everything. I think I've even seen them over at the hospital from time to time, visiting people, things like that. We definitely like to get inside the hospital, Easter seals. We like to take some time and go over and see them people as well. With respect to the arena. How does it go? There's a hockey game in there, and then maybe a few days later there's a Walt Disney World on stage or whatever, that type of thing. How does that go in terms of there's ice, now there's not ice? What's the process involved there?
Well, Mark Stuckey and his guys at the arena do a great job of what we call flipping the building. So anytime there's ice down, we have a special floor they can put down. It'll cover it up, and then they can install staging or whatever's needed for the next event. And they've gotten better over the years. There's new materials, so it's a little bit lighter. They can switch it a little bit quicker than they have in the past from the old plywood days. Matter of fact, this weekend alone, they had WVU basketball, which they have the basketball court down on top of ice, and then they'll flip that over for a hockey game on Saturday, and on Sunday back for Walt Disney. So they can do it. It's not easy. It's quite a process, but they do a great job.
Sometimes you notice the ice is there because it's a little cold. If you're sitting down there on the floor, you can actually feel a little bit of the cold coming up. But
right.
So I always say, hey, if you're going down there for another event, it doesn't hurt to dress a little bit warm. But it is amazing how they can flip that so quick and get it ready for one event to another.
It's a multi-purpose facility.
Well, Craig, certainly wish the team luck this year. Wish you luck with all that you do with the team, and it's great to have a professional sports organization here in Wheeling. I think it adds to the whole thing that makes Wheeling a great city, a great community for raising kids. So thanks for all that you guys do to add to that experience here in the city of Wheeling.
Well, thank you, and thanks for your support.
Well, I appreciate you being on the show here today, and my law firm does enjoy supporting the Nailers, and of course Justice, our legal beagle, is always one of the hits down there with the kids, and we enjoy having him down there. So thanks for letting him be there. Appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you.
Stay with us. When we come back, we'll continue talking sports, but we'll talk about our sports person of the week and some other local and regional sports.
At Progressive Bank, our loan process is unique. It's personal. Our local lenders ease your mind and help you get the loan you need and deserve. Progressive Bank, personal bankers with millions to lend to local families and businesses. Come in, Ohio Valley. We're lending.
Fighting for homeowners. Fighting for workers.
Fighting for children.
Fighting for mineral owners.
Fighting for patients.
Fighting for policyholders.
Bordas and Bordas, fighting for justice.
Progressive Bank understands borrowing money can be a daunting experience. Our local lenders ease your mind and help you get the loan you need and deserve. Progressive Bank, personal bankers with millions to lend to local families and businesses. Come in, Ohio Valley. We're lending.
Welcome back to the show. It's time to talk sports. We've already been doing that somewhat, talking with Vice President of Operations of the Wheeling Nailers, Craig Baumer, for a large part of the show here today. But it's time to award our Sports Person of the Week. And this week we have our first ever two-time winner of this award here on the show, and that's Kyle Wenzel, a golfer at Wheeling Central Catholic. Kyle won his second straight West Virginia Class A state championship, and that is a feat that is pretty remarkable. When you talk about the entire state of West Virginia, to not only win a state championship once, but to do it 2 years in a row is pretty special. And we recognized Kyle when he won the OVAC championship earlier this fall, but given the fact that he won his second straight state championship, certainly worth recognizing someone here in this local valley. So congratulations to Kyle Wenzel for another state championship in golf. Turning to other sports here, the Penguins, as I said, hockey season opens up, and the Penguins will be starting off the season without Sidney Crosby. Suffered a concussion in practice, and of course Sidney Crosby has had a history of problems with concussions. This one couldn't have come at perhaps a more untimely place, right at the start of the season. They're going to be raising the Stanley Cup banner and without the captain. So it'll be interesting to see how long this keeps him out this time. Each time you get a concussion, it can affect you a little bit more. Seems like this one wasn't maybe as significant or as severe as maybe in the past, but we'll have to see how long Sidney Crosby is out of the lineup and what the Penguins do without him. Last year, of course, they got off to a very slow start, led to a coaching change, and they rallied the second half of the year. Of course, went on to make a remarkable Stanley Cup run and win the championship. But you can only do that so often. It's tough enough in sports to repeat, but to do it starting off the season without your captain is certainly not ideal. So we'll keep an eye on the Penguins and what they do going forward. Speaking of Pittsburgh sports, the Steelers, with another big win last week against the New York Jets, got an injury, though, in the game. Cam Hayward hamstring injury, be without him now as they go down to Miami to face the Dolphins this weekend. That's a big loss for the Steelers. Cam has been in the lineup every game since he came into the league in 2011. He's the leader of that defensive line. Stephon Tuitt will now maybe have to take over that leadership role, and how the Steelers will do without Cam in the lineup remains to be seen. That defensive side of the ball has struggled with injuries all season long, and they've held up. They've been a little bit of a bend but don't break, but the offense, being the high-powered offense that it is, I think we'll be able to overcome whatever issues the defense may have. I'll take the Steelers, but down in Miami, I think it'll be close. I'll take the Steelers by 3 this week, and we'll keep an eye on Cam Hayward's hamstring injury going forward. Hopefully he's not out of the lineup too long with the big game against the New England Patriots just a little over a week away that everybody's been looking forward to. Tom Brady, of course, with the big game, over 400 yards passing in his return last week after serving his 4-game suspension as a result of the Deflategate scandal. So Steelers by 3 this week, and then the big game against the Patriots coming up. College football, WVU with the big road test this week. 11 a.m. game out in Texas against Texas Tech. It'll be noon here, but that 11 a.m. start, you never know how that's going to affect each of the two teams. Texas Tech was held to its fewest points scored of the season last week against Kansas State, but that was still 38 points. They've scored more than that in every other game. WVU is probably going to have to score more than 40 to win this game, and the defense is going to have to make some plays. But I'll take WVU on the road, but their kicker leaving the team, Josh Lambert, no longer a part of the team. Of course, he missed some games anyway to start off this season, but he was 5 field goals short of the school record for field goals. Could make a difference, but when things like that happen, I always think that a little bit of irony takes over, and I'll think that they'll maybe win by a field goal just because of that. So I'll take the Mountaineers by a field goal as well, just like I did the Steelers. Ohio State with the first big game in several weeks here. They play at Wisconsin this week. I think Ohio State's just too high-powered for the Badgers to be able to shut them down. JT Barrett and that crew have been rolling all season long. I'll take the Buckeyes in that one. I'm going to continue to pick the Buckeyes until they face Michigan. I said it in the preseason. The Buckeyes will roll until they face Michigan in the final regular season game of the year, and I think Michigan will knock them off. I'm going to continue to stick with that pick. Take Ohio State this week over Wisconsin, but I do think they're going to get nipped at the end of the season by the Wolverines. Alabama, I picked to be on upset alert last week. That didn't happen. They got by Arkansas, but now they go to Tennessee. Rocky Top's not going to be enough. Of course, a heartbreaking loss for Tennessee after they rallied back, lost in overtime last week. Alabama will win, and I think they may win big this week against Tennessee. I picked Washington to get upset last week, too. What a bad pick that was. Oregon just did not get the job done at all. Washington blew them out, and they're looking really, really impressive out on the West Coast as a top 5 team. That's all the time that we have this week. I appreciate everyone joining us. We'll see you again next week on the Jamie Bordas Show.